Fire alarm going off. Dorothy, if you like, when we get started, would you like me to just kind of kick things off, or do you want to? I don't want to deprive you the vice chair role of introducing everything, but I'm happy to run through it if it's easier for you.
Oh, yes, please do.
Planning Commission meeting for our December, the final meeting of the year. Yay, we made it. Pretty exciting. So we'll start to just run through our agenda. The first thing, we have a continuance after our minutes, continuance for the Wren Quarter project. I can hit that, Pam, if you want real quick. There were just some outstanding comments that the applicant had to address after the workshop. So they need some additional time to get their resubmission in and make sure that is ready to go. Next thing we have on our calendar is approval of our 25-26 calendars. So these are the submittal calendars that the developers and applicants follow in making their submissions. Ron, you got a question?
Yeah, in terms of the schedule, did we already do a December workshop? Or is there still one?
We'll have our December workshop on the 16th.
16th, got it. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll do our workshop next week, and then that will clear us out for the year.
When you said final meeting, you meant final hearing.
Yeah. Sorry.
Got it. Okay.
Our
thanks.
final official. Yeah. No. Thanks for noting that. Yeah, those are our calendars. So we have our standard track and our extended track calendars. They reflect the submission deadlines and all the different dates that are really important to the applicants, but they also set the meetings for our workshops, our pre-planning commission meetings, and our hearings. We've kept the standard flow of that dance for the past several years, having a longer calendar for bigger projects, annexations, master plans, and the standard track is for our typical site plans, preliminary plats, and those sorts of things. So no substantive changes to how that looks. Do note there are some dates where meetings fall on a Monday that we shift to Tuesdays. Otherwise, if you see anything on there, typos, or Jen looks at these a million times, I look at them, but every year we always catch something later in the year. We're like, oh, that's a Sunday. But I think we got everything. But if you do notice something, please let us know. Let's see, moving on. Sharon, the Summers project. This is a request for an extension.
Yeah, the applicant really has made quite a bit of ongoing progress, but there are some agencies out there who have suffered some kind of chaotic and rather traumatic events, and they have not been able to respond in a timely fashion. So they had a they had a they could have tried to throw together a some kind of permit or submittal, but they really they would rather they just got a response from the outstanding agency that they really need they just feel like they really need to have some more time. And as you know, we gave them, the staff was able to give them a 6-month extension, but if they need more time, and that's the one that's up on the 14th, I believe, but if they need more time, they have to get permission from you folks. And in the staff report, we do think that they have worked as an organization to make it happen, but through no fault of their own in this particular case, they're up against the wall. And they've told us, and we based on their past history, we do think that we will see a product from them much sooner than a year. We think in a matter of months they'll be able to complete what they need to do to proceed.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Oh, Joan.
Yep, I made it. Thank you. Right. Dorothy, any questions?
Nope, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Is there anything that I missed before I logged on?
Just we have our calendars are the first on, and this is our annual thing we do every year. We have kept the same pattern and rhythm
Okay.
that we have for the past several years, so no major changes.
Right. Okay.
And
Thank you.
brining.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about brining, turkeys, roads, all
Ah.
sorts of things.
That's important. All right. So the next thing on the agenda is the Kellerton extension for the plat. Whose is that?
This is, yeah, so I'll take that one. This is a 6-month extension to their plat. This is for land-based DE, the dedication of parkland and the dedication of parkland. This applicant requested a 6-month extension from the Planning Commission over the summer due to a piece of land that they are trying to resolve the title to. They are taking the necessary court actions to gain title to that piece of property.
That's right. I vaguely remember that.
So they're still in that legal process. So they have also requested an extension for 6 more months to be able to resolve that, get their final plats in that they need to, which then kind of vests that approval and allows them to keep progressing forward.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
No, thank you.
All right. And the next item on the agenda is the fence modification for Blue Ridge Court. Is that Monica's?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So they submitted all of the extra information that you asked for. They submitted a fence detail. The pictures, I know, Ron, you had asked for a little bit clearer direction in terms of like the direction that the pictures were being taken in. They submitted something. I don't know that it answers your question specifically, but it might give you a little bit of clarity. Yeah, and I also looked up the height of the highest fence that's been approved, and it was actually, I shouldn't take credit for that. That was Jen Vandergreek did that. And it's 9 feet. It was a 6-foot board-on-board fence with a 3-foot lattice, and that was in a side yard for a residence that was abutting
Halfway house, right?
yes, the halfway house. That's exactly it.
Yeah, Shookstown. Was it Shookstown Road?
You're in the
Doesn't
right neighborhood.
matter.
I don't think it was. Yeah,
Okay.
it was somewhere in that neighborhood.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't love it, but that's what it is.
All right. Do we have any questions?
No, thanks.
Dorothy?
Nope, thank you.
All right. Thank you
right,
very
very good.
much.
Yeah.
All right. The next item on the agenda is the Brickworks Forest Conservation Plan. Who's this?
Trying to get
Yeah.
my stuff to come online. Anyway, yeah, this is the Brickworks forest plan that goes with that preliminary plat that we had last month, and we were having some discussions with the applicant on how do we phase all the lots that are being planned independently through this development and still satisfy the overall requirement for the project. We've come to some agreement that they were able to show us the forest retention and plantings in our parkland and some of the street trees over our comprehensive road, which they're taking credits for. And then after we subtract those already identified areas, then they're left with a balance of forest still owed, of course. And then what we did was we said, well, look, let's go ahead and see how we can go work through the site plans and still achieve getting forest on site and also reduce a compromise of fee in lieu of acceptability for this project being downtown as we all feel. So it's like a 50-50 split of what that remaining forest number is. And we split that using some kind of calculation that we've done before on other projects, where if a lot is a big lot and you have a little lot, you divide that into the overall subdivision size to find out what percentage is this lot part of that subdivision. And then we take their percentage and give them that percentage of what the forest is owed. That's how that table was presented. Now, to be aware, the applicant does own a couple of the lots. They've already got some site plans working through our process and everything. And there's some of them that they feel we're just not going to do. We can't do it. We can't plant what we're going to do. They feel that there might be other lots that maybe they're getting more street trees or they're find more landscaping areas or something like that in comparison to maybe like the shopping center versus a residential area with more streets and things, so they want to have flexibility to say, we know what we owe for this overall project, but we might be able to go ahead and say, hey, we're going to pass this on to another lot and see if we can satisfy it at the end and satisfy all this, at least the 50% on site and also the 50% in fee in lieu of. So we will see how it works through the system. We're going to try to work with them and also in priority thinking of buffering or landscape credits and things like that to get as much on site as we can, even above what their minimum requirement is set in this table. So just to let you know that's what our goal is. We will see. We really, as we could have said, the last lot in, we don't want them overburdened with holding the bag if other lots don't meet their forest, but somewhere along the line, this project has to meet their forest conservation and also to and even experimenting and looking out there for off-site planting. So it is a challenge for this project. So we're going to we're presenting this as an agreed upon way to approach it at this point. So we'll see.
All right. Any questions from the commission? Ron does.
Yeah, two
Natasha
questions.
does too. Okay.
Have we ever done this kind of like deferred? It seems like we're basically deferring the decision when for after everything works out. Have we ever done that before?
Not to my knowledge. The reason why, I don't know, Gabrielle, do you remember any?
I think on the East Park project, we ended up, and I'd have to go back and look if to really be concrete about that. I feel like on the East Park project, they were looking to develop the lots. They knew their forest conservation requirement, but they also didn't have their site plans, at the time that they were subdividing. So we're kind of prospecting the forest as it moved forward. But let me look. I feel that there was some, I feel like we had the same concern at points that, okay, well, ensuring that they don't push it out so far that they're left with no opportunities. I feel like that came up with East Park, but we can dig back on that.
Yeah, because I believe all the other commissioners feel that, we're not anxious to get into precedent setting when it comes to things that, so if we have a precedent that we used before, because the other thing I think, do we have any indication on the remediation efforts and the environmental studies that are going on that could down the road affect the same issue? Do we have any indication yet, from any early indication of what's been done on that environmental study from the state?
We don't have any,
And how that might impact this?
well, we don't have any status of it as of yet, because some of that, as they explained when the master plan came through, is that they really don't get any hard, fast approval till they have as-builts. They have approaches that they're required to do, like maybe they seal it, and cap it, as they explained, with, with its asphalt or concrete or whatever over other areas. But as for removing the dirt and things like that, they can't get into grading yet, because they've got to get through the process of what we're doing right now. And after we have approvals for even just a lot area that they may grade by itself, but they might just go through and mass grade the whole site, who knows, because they have to remove some areas of dirt and they have to fill some areas of dirt. So they haven't gotten that far yet with us. They've got to get through with the planning commission first to get into the improvement plans and grading. The other thing is, and I do agree with you, I don't want it to be something that we set up as a habit of, or expectation down the road, that projects will come in and say, we're going to defer, we're going to defer, we're going to defer. Because the intention of forest is not to do that. The intention is that when you disturb someplace, whatever, you're supposed to plant it. When your project, you're supposed to plant it. So when we're looking at our projects, and like one of them, like, we say, we want you to put a buffer in. Let's say we want you to put a buffer in, and they don't want to redesign for the buffer and everything. We have to weigh, do you say, yeah, we agree that you can't get your development with putting the buffer in, or do we say redesign and buffer? It would be up to you all to say, where do you feel they've put the effort in, in design? It might be green space, it might be landscaping, it could be more little parklands, who knows? But I'm just saying that my concern is too, I wouldn't want this to be something that is a routine for the city. But on the other hand, I think we do look at each project and look at it and say, how can we achieve this and get this done for the city and for this project itself? So, and we have been putting some feelers out there for off-site areas for they now have, on this project, we've brought the plan forward saying 6 acres. You have to find another 6 acres someplace. 6 acres, I mean, it sounds a lot for this project to put 6 acres in, but if you can find some land area, 6 acres can be small compared to what we've been investigating as Deerbalt open space. It's a small area, but we have to be able to have someone agree for them to put the planting in and put the easement on it. So we will work with them and try to also move in that direction.
Okay, thank you.
Natasha, did you have questions?
I do. So is there a way that maybe it could just be like checkpoints of when they're doing, like, meeting the requirement? Because if it does end up just getting backloaded to the last lot and then they're like, oh, there's not enough space or something like that, like, could it be like, okay, each one that they start working on, then they have to like fulfill at least 25%, of what they're supposed to do by like a certain amount of lots or just something like that, so that, because I could just see it being just deferred all the way to the end and then like, oops, we still can't do it. There's not enough space. Now we'll just pay a fee, which could have been the intention the whole time. So I really don't like to.
I think that comes down to
Yeah.
whoever is their proven authority at that time to hold them to the original plan that they need to plant or find offsite or something and not accept that larger fee, because right now we've got a very small fee in lieu of rate. And you can see that it already says on the plan $80,000 for the total 50%. And if you, like you said, if we would defer it down and they give us their fee in lieu of, and they want to pay fee in lieu of whatever they can't plant, then you've only increased it back up to the point where why'd we do this exercise, you know?
Exactly.
But I think that I'm hopeful that we're going to find some off-site planting area, to tell you the truth, you know, and or also too, that some of these amounts that the lots owe, because they are going to get some street tree credits and things like that, they may find they don't have that much more to find their acres. Because I've been looking at some of the plans that have come in already, and I'm thinking, you know, I think you can probably plant it on site. So we will see.
So who does hold them accountable?
It would be your approval of the plans
We do.
with.
Yeah, I meant just to make sure, because I'm like, I don't know. I guess I just like things in phases, and that's just how my mind works. Like, okay, we're at like on this second lot and they haven't found any space to plant anything. It's like, how do we continue? Because it looks like they're just deferring it to not do it and pay the fee, because that's what it would look like to me, is all I'm saying. So I don't know.
But
And
we would get, I mean, we would have to approve this as each site plan comes in. So, I mean, if we get the first site plan and they're proposing no plantings at all, then we have that's in our purview to not approve the site plan because it's not meeting their plantings requirement.
But I thought this agreement that they just said that they're making is that on some lots, they were like, absolutely, we're not planting anything there. So
No. Not with
okay.
this, not with
Right,
this
so-
plan that you're getting right now. This is laying out the groundwork of each lot that we're expecting to add up to their forest and their fee in lieu of. This is the groundwork. That table
whole
that you
thing.
see there is what we will look for when lot 5 comes in, lot 4 comes in, lot 6 comes in,
Okay.
you know. So this is the groundwork. And then after that, you look at the individual plans for their merit and say, how is it being satisfied?
Okay. Thanks.
Dorothy, do you have questions?
Yeah, I do. So Pam, I'm looking at the bottom of page 4 of the staff report and the top of page 6 of the staff report, where the graphic that has the lots and then the amount of acres.
Afforestation.
Yeah, and then I'm looking at the what is this called? The Brickworks preliminary forest conservation plan, the actual first sheet. And I'm just trying to get my bearings. So I want to understand if you can walk me through real quickly. So when I look at, let's just say, lot 1, is that afforestation area or is that retention area? Lot 2, is that retention or like what is this? Like what is, so lot 1?
The table on page 4 and 5, that's only documenting what they're providing us now in the parkland. That's telling you you've got an area of A1 in the parkland that's giving you 30.33 acres. And then you got an A1 area and you got an A3. They're their planting areas they've already identified.
Yeah, I understand that, Pam. That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is I hear you, but what I'm asking is lot 1, what is that? Lot 2, what is that? Lot 3.
Let me-
So this,
Let me share the plan real quick and let's see
Yeah.
if,
Yeah.
let's see if we can walk through, just so
I'm
everybody has a clear
Yeah.
understanding of what's
Yeah.
going on here.
Yeah,
So
determine which
hopefully,
areas are retention areas and which areas are,
exactly. So
Okay.
here's the plan. And hopefully everybody can see it. Here's East Street coming up, Monocacy Boulevard. So all of the afforestation and retention that they are showing where it's going to occur on this plan are all in the park plan. So they're all on this left-hand side of the screen, west side of East Street. So they've got a planting area here, A3, a planting area here, A2, an area of retention tucked in right behind it. Looks like, there we go. An area of new planting to join on to another area of retention, and then this whole area being retained. So
Okay.
that's
are
that's
these,
all the planting and
is
the
that
trees.
the whole area, lot 1? Like, what lot is this? Like, what is this? Like,
This is the parkland.
right, okay, so it's none of the lots then.
It's none of the lots.
Okay.
Here's lot 1 is our lot at the corner.
Where's, okay,
Where's lot 2 at? Lot 2 somewhere in here.
Right there, Gabrielle.
Right there. We have lot 3. This is the other area of parkland dedication.
right,
This is an outlot. Lot 4 is our corner lot. Oops, I'm sorry, it only goes to here. Lot 5, and then lot 6 is this.
okay,
So the only other planting that they are showing us now that they are saying here, this is actually occurring with this plan, then would be the street trees for the public streets that are part of this preliminary plat. So we're calculating all of this, and then we're looking at what's left over and what they still need to meet. And that's where the table on page, the table that's in your staff report, this little guy
okay,
comes in. I'm gonna zoom in real quick. So after accounting for that acreage, which was, so here's their overall planting requirement of 16.42.
mm-hmm,
They've subtracted out the 1.89 acres that we just looked at, which is the combined retention and afforestation in the park.
mm-hmm.
They've subtracted out the credit for those street trees that they're also showing. And they're telling us that we have a balance of 12.37 acres. Then what they're proposing to do, as Pam explained, is take that balance of the 12.37 acres and basically divide it as a proportion amongst the lots based on their area, so that each lot then is kind of assigned this minimum requirement that they're going to meet on-site or off-site, and what the fee in lieu of payment would look like. With, as we've been discussing, with the aspiration of hopefully as they start to plan out these lots, they find that there is opportunity to gain more on the lots if possible. So if one lot came in and they could bump their total up a little bit more, maybe that could reduce, that 50% requirement for another lot. So they want some flexibility as they design the lots to be able to shift that a little bit, but those are their minimum on-site, off-site that they're establishing per lot based on the lot area to get to our total of 12.37.
So let me just make sure I understand this. So the afforestation and deforestation is all that parkland that we see there. So that's all lined there. And then we're talking about the street trees, right? And then the lots are places where they might be able to plant trees. But I think in some cases, if I read it correctly, if I remember, some places they want to remove trees in order to meet the requirement for the environmental cleanup.
Also, part of the request is the removal of those specimen trees.
Correct. So the lots are just places where they may add trees to meet the requirements, or remove, in some cases, trees in order to do the environmental cleanup. Am I capturing that correctly?
These lots are the lots that are for development, not just places where they're going to say they're going to plant.
I know.
That is their lot size. So
Yeah, I'm just making sure I understand, Pam. I'm just making sure that I am repeating what I think I'm hearing. So the lot sections, yes, I know that they're developing it, but those lots are also lots where they're considering adding trees to make up the balance, unless they can find 6 acres somewhere else, and in some areas remove the trees because of them having to do the environmental cleanup. Is that not correct?
right, that was the gist of the justification for clearing. Also clearing because, as you know, this site is speckled with trees throughout the whole area.
Correct.
That would prevent development just because it's sat for so long, it's regenerated.
Yeah.
And everything. So they almost have no choice but to clear the trees in order to develop. But on the other hand, like you said, they've got their lot requirements. We are looking for them to plant in some way or another or get trees back, because, you know, even with forest conservation, we have our landscape standards, so they have to meet trees on site anyway, somewhere along the line. But the forest, we are divvying out to each lot and hoping to get it satisfied.
Okay, so just one more time so that I understand it. So part of this is that parkland, which has the afforestation and the forest retention. Then you have the street trees piece of it, and then you have the lot requirements. And within the lot requirements, there may be some places in which you plant trees to meet the balance. It may not be. There might be that 6 point something acres that they could add to that. Find 6 acres that they could find to add. And there's some places where they'll be removing trees on the lots because of what you just mentioned, Pam, in addition to the environmental cleanup. Am I capturing that correctly?
Yeah, because they're putting in that modification to remove those trees, specimen trees on site. And that's a separate, you know, vote that you do. But on the other hand, then you're going to look at your plan and say, yep, their forest plan is moving forward with trying to find 6.19 acres down the road dispersed among these lots.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it for this issue? Do we have any more discussion or questions? Nope. Seeing no's, then we can move on to the next agenda item, which is the mixed use text amendment regarding hospitals.
Hello. I don't know if my camera's gonna show up. Here we go. Not really a whole lot to add. Just added a little bit of language clarifying the difference between like a mixed use conditional use as opposed to a regular conditional use that would go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So you'll find that on page 4. And then just to clarify, you know, our position regarding this hospitals being a mixed use conditional use versus by right, because of the rigorous, I don't know what I'm trying to say, like the rigorous study that has to go through the state and everything to determine whether a hospital, you know, is needed in this area because of that, as well as examining like traffic concerns and things like that, you know, which would be taken care of with the APFO. We feel that, you know, it's adequate that for it to be a by right use as opposed to a conditional use. So that's really all I have to update. If you have any questions.
Great. Thanks. Are there any questions?
Just comment. Oh, I'll let Katie go first.
Oh, that's because I can't see you, Dorothy. If I could see you, I would have let you go first.
Yeah, but she
Go
did
ahead,
it
Rob.
properly and she raised her hand. Well,
No, her hand never went down.
you did
for
it
the last
virtually. I did
question.
it literally. But again, my question on this would be the precedent-setting nature of this and the almost like a carte blanche thing. Have we done this before?
Not to my knowledge. I don't know, Gabrielle could.
Have we done what before? I mean, we have, anytime we amend the LMC, which, you know, we've made amendments to the land management code to add uses, to define uses, to decide how they are allowed, whether by conditional use or by right, and which districts. We have done that on multiple occasions, of course. And anytime we're doing that, we have to harken back to those criteria that are kind of our mantra with this. You know, does this promote the comprehensive plan goals? Is this consistent with it? Is it moving us in the direction of conformance with the comprehensive plan? And is it consistent with the other regulations of the code? Is it kind of following the same form and pattern of what's already in the code? So in terms of amending the LMC and the use matrix, you know, absolutely, we have done that before. But every case that we do that in, we have to make our own individual unique findings on those two specific criteria. Keeping in mind that the planning commission is just a recommending body on this one to the city council.
Yeah, and I guess my question was based on the fact that they go out of their way to say that this is not for this particular area, even though that's where they're interested in it right now. But that we introduce this floating zone, and then we wind up having a real hospital being constructed because of the change in code. And then, for example, let's say on the west side of town, they decide to have an emergency room and late night ambulances going, and because we kind of gave a carte blanche thing here. But I think if I understand the way this was written, those types of issues would come up in an APFO study, et cetera, because that would be a traffic-ish kind of.
Exactly. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's the scary thing about text amendments, because once you change the rules, you know, we looked at I'm sure I provided analysis of all the properties that are currently zoned MU. So that's right, like the known. And we have development plans for those. Could they come back and amend them and want to put a hospital in? They could. But then the other question is, well, this would apply to all existing MU properties and all future MU properties, whether we assign them as part of a comprehensive rezoning, or whether they go through the conditional rezoning and the master plan process. But Commissioner Meady, you're exactly right. The logic behind the recommendation that we've made is that in placing the MU2 zone, you are going, okay, they're proposing with their master plan a use. You're analyzing the impacts of the use in the context of that master plan. So you're kind of achieving that localized analysis in the MU2. Now, if we decide to comprehensively rezone areas to MU1, which is something we could do, if we decide we want to embark on a comprehensive rezoning in a year, and we say, okay, now we want to put MU. At that point, we then have to evaluate the placement of MU in those locations for the uses that are allowed in it, and the bundle of rights that roll with MU at that time. But once again, through the site development process, you get APFO analysis and those sorts of things. So that kind of impact and site analysis.
Thank you.
Dorothy?
Yeah, I was just gonna, I'm sorry. I
Sorry.
was just gonna add too that, you know, the applicant had noted that there is this certificate of need. So you're not going to have like a proliferation of hospitals popping up all over the city, because there is that stringent criteria that they must meet.
Thanks.
Dorothy, did you have a question?
Really more of a statement. Yeah, when I looked at this as well, I was thinking more along the lines about wondering how urgent care and minute clinics, fit into the overall scheme of things. And so I was happy to get a response from Gabrielle about, my thoughts around that, and knowing that though they're not, IST, but they're, I guess, business professional offices that do have by right in the MU zone. So they could, let's just say conceivably still be in Ren Quarters or Brickworks or like, Market Square, or anywhere like that is a MU area. So then, I just wanted to make sure that by, possibly approving this text amendment, it wouldn't block them, I mean urgent care and minute clinics, from being able to also possibly be in those areas. Like, for example, I think the one that we just approved, which one is that one? The one off of North Market. I forgot what that one is called.
Court?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Like that one is small enough where it might be able to fit a urgent care or minute clinic, as opposed to a hospital. So that was one of the things that I was focused on when I read the text amendment, and wanted to just make sure that there was some type of, ability for others that provide maybe not the same services because they don't have in-care patients, but be able to still provide that professional level of medical care. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? No. Seeing nothing, it looks like we're through with the agenda for our December 9th meeting. We can turn the recording off, but I have a question for you guys, staff, that has nothing to do with this, but I've been hearing hearing rumors that the application to put a Wawa at the corner of Mill Pond and Monocacy has been withdrawn. Is that the case?
That is the case. Yes, they pulled that plan. It was, yeah, they would have had to prove that it wasn't a greater nuisance than something that was allowed by right, and the neighbors hated it, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, no, I heard.
Yes, yes, they really organized quickly. I give them a lot of credit for that. They really got the word out and made their opinions known far and wide, which I like.
Good, cool, thank you. That was,
yeah.
I'd heard that and I wanted to see if it was true.
Yes, you will not see them again.
All right, until they come up with another plan.
Well, yes, and that's what I told the NAC people is, it's going to be developed commercially. So, right. You might have won the Wawa fight, but you're probably going to lose the McDonald's fight.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, well, if there's nothing else we need to talk about, we'll see everybody on Monday night.
Very good.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.